Welcome into the Backcourt Podcast.
Welcome into the Backcourt Podcast here on a Sunday evening divisional round. Some good games, some bad games. A lot to talk about. Let's jump right into it. But before I do that, we are joined here by co host Caiden Young and also special guest Avi Allen. How are we doing, guys?
Take it, Avi. You're the guest.
Doing good, doing good. A fun weekend of a lot of sports, but especially NFL.
Yes. College basketball probably won't get talked about today, but a lot of upsets, I believe, yesterday. I think 4 or 5 top 10 teams falling.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think it was like double digit, like top 25 teams lost this weekend or something like that. Some crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. I texted my dad because he was talking about Xavier. Yeah, 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8 all lost
Jeez.
yesterday.
Yeah, Xavier, big W for them yesterday against Marquette.
I thought they were going to choke.
I was so hyped. I didn't watch the whole game, but were we up at 20 or like by 20 at one point?
It was something close to that, yeah, and
Yeah.
then it just kept getting smaller and smaller.
'Cause I was at work, right? And I saw, oh, we're up 20. And I put my phone away. Like, I checked back like 20 minutes later. I'm like, oh my God, it's a 3-point game. So, got to get that one. But let's jump right into it, fellas. Let's go with the one of the most anticipated games of the year, and the Baltimore Ravens heading to Buffalo to take on the Bills. It was a game that was, I would say, a little sloppier than I thought it would have been. I was expecting a shootout, and we did get there in terms of points, with the final score being in the high 20s. But initial thoughts, Caden, about how this game went down.
Um, the Baltimore Ravens offense, yet again, did the same thing they always do in the playoffs, except they did it a little classier this time. They forget to run the ball. They ran the ball. Derrick Henry had 7 carries in the second half. And he gets better as the game goes on. I understand he was getting stopped at the line a couple times. He had a couple big runs, but 7 carries in the second half is not going to get it done against a weaker and smaller defensive front. Buffalo Bills
Yeah.
kind of lost control of the game there, able to keep it close down to the wire. We'll talk more in a little bit about what happened at the end of that game there, but initial reaction is you got to keep running the football. You can't keep your your offense is so strong when you lean on the run, and they just seem to forget to do that in the big playoff games.
Yeah. And Avi, what are your initial thoughts after this game just wrapping up?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely had that same thought as Caden, but for me, the biggest one just has to be Mark Andrews. He just, it just like
He had a pretty good game, right, guys?
Yeah,
two,
just like
two
just 2 mistakes.
Just two minor mistakes, right, guys?
Yeah,
and it's not like
not
if
on
they were
early in the game too. They were early in the game.
I was just about to say if they were first half mistakes, it's like okay, that's bad, but we can move on. But when they happened, it's like just the story. It's the story of the game for me.
Yeah, it was brutal. The huge fumble he has in the fourth quarter, and then the drop on the 2-point conversion after the Ravens drive down the field. I was overall first half. I'm like, damn, Lamar. I was disappointed. He had a fumble and an interception, but I thought he played really great in the second half and ended up actually having a pretty solid night. Driving the field or driving the team all the way down the field. He had some crazy nice plays, and they score. And then we see it. They score the 2-point conversion, and then nope, Mark Andrews bobbles it out of bounds. I'm like, oh, that's brutal. Um, but thoughts on Lamar's performance after this game? Because there's a lot of talk about playoff Lamar. He's struggling in the playoffs, but I think it was kind of not a roller coaster, but I thought it was projecting down the whole game, and then second half, I thought he played really well.
Yeah, it's just this one's tough because this was the MVP conversation was these two quarterbacks, and neither of them played all that great the whole game. Josh Allen was much more of game manager, short completions, getting it out quick, using his feet, and then not making mistakes. Lamar was exactly the same way in that first half. Just he made two kind of boneheaded mistakes, a bad throw, and I don't know what happened on that fumble, if it just like slipped out of his hand or if he was trying to make a throw. But
Yeah.
definitely picked it up in the second half, finished with 254 passing yards. But at the end of the day, he needed to do a little bit more, I think, in that first half to close that gap, because going into halftime in those conditions, down 2 scores, is tough to battle back from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Lamar. It's kind of like a C plus B minus type performance. Like the two first half mistakes were just bad, just awful. But then, other than that, the Ravens were moving the ball every time. I feel like I'm trying to think, did they punt at all?
The Ravens did not punt, no.
Yeah, so
Wow.
they were moving the ball. It's just the turnovers were killer. Second half, I agree, Jackson. He was just incredible. And so I would go like a C plus B minus. It wasn't. I don't think he was bad, but I don't think he was particularly great tonight.
Yeah, I think that's where like the most valuable player convo kind of gets interesting to me, because if Derrick Henry, if you can get him going, I think this game is completely different. If he had a better game, I think both 2-point conversion attempts, they'd probably give him the ball if he was playing a little better. So that's kind of interesting. Like, he wasn't carrying the ball all that great. Obviously, he didn't get a lot of reps in the second half carrying the football, and that kind of really changed the dynamic of that team. And this Buffalo Bills defense didn't look all that great either. Just kind of blown coverages here and there, and Lamar in the second half was able to make the best of those. Not necessarily the most difficult plays, but the ones you need.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good second half, and of course, I work at a restaurant, so it's kind of a weird schedule. Of course, I was working tonight, right? Best game of the year so far. I got to work, and I got off about, I think it was the fourth quarter. It was luckily a slow day, so I was able to watch a decent amount of it. But yeah, I was impressed by Lamar down the stretch. You know, I was really hoping that the Bills were not going to score on that the drive before the Ravens drove and almost tied up the game, because I'm like, if they score a touchdown here, they're going to put it out of reach. It's going to be
The field goal one where they got that
field goal. Yeah, when they got stopped at the goal line there, and I'm like, okay, here we go, Lamar. This is the chance here. And he did it. He proved a lot of people wrong. He scored a touchdown, and in my opinion, in the stat book, give him the 2-point conversion. Just take it away from the rest of the team. Just take it away from Mark Andrews.
Wasn't a perfect throw.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Was a little behind him.
It's got to be caught.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was a good game. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more flashy, high flying, but I guess that's kind of how it is in the Buffalo and a blizzard. So
it wasn't that explosive, I don't think.
No, it wasn't. And I was kind of expecting it to be a lot more big plays, kind of like the Lions Commanders game the other night, but it was definitely a little bit more of big defensive plays, a little more balanced, I would say, in terms of run and pass game. But for the Bills, real quick, hitting on Josh Allen, I got to give Josh Allen an A+ performance for this game. Personally, I think he was outstanding. Managed the game great. 2 rushing touchdowns. Man, he just did his thing out there. And I'm just trolling Avi.
I know he is. I know he's doing his thing.
We've been debating it all day. A bunch of other quarterbacks, and one of the things was Jalen Hurts getting a lot of criticism after his performance, and Allen not. I think Allen was.
It wasn't the performance. More just people are talking about Jalen Hurts 130 yards, and then Josh Allen has 130 yards, and no one cares.
Yeah, I think it was a real quick game before I let you go. I think it was a solid performance. Like, I would probably say like a C. I think he did what he had to do. He was consistent. He didn't turn the ball over at all. But I wasn't like blown away by how he did. Sorry, Caiden, go ahead.
Saquon Barkley.
Oh shit.
He's a dog. I can't argue. He's a dog.
Yeah, I think
Mic drop.
I think the difference here is, I mean, James Cook is a very good running back, but if you want to talk about like how those two are kind of described, if you look at their passing performances, Josh Allen, I feel like he makes the bigger plays. Jalen Hurts kind of just sucks at throwing the football, and that's why he has 130 yards. Josh Allen's just like, oh really, oh really, oh really.
Okay, real quick, if I may interject.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, and let's just get into it, because me and Avi have been talking about it all day. So let's just get into it. I think the thing about Jalen Hurts is I think he's a really, really great quarterback. He's one of the best. This is a trigger word here. One of the best system quarterbacks we have in the NFL. And I think the biggest part is his offense compared to Josh Allen's offense is significantly better. He has better receivers. He has better running backs. He has a better offensive line, even though the Bills' offensive line is very good. So that's basically. All right, Avi, let's hear it.
This combo did not start as a Josh. This was not me saying Jalen Hurts is better than Josh Allen. This is not a take I'm saying now.
You said they were close, though. You said they were close.
Better. This is my point. Josh Allen is better than Jalen Hurts. So he should be held to a higher standard than Jalen Hurts. So why is Jalen Hurts getting cooked for 130 passing yards and Josh Allen isn't? That's my only point.
That's valid.
I know why.
Tell me, enlighten me.
Jared Jackson.
What?
Why?
I think I know the avenue you're going here, Caiden.
Okay, so
I mean, it's kind of valid, I guess.
I think Josh
knowing
was
America,
by the way.
knowing America, it's kind of valid.
Josh Allen a B. I give him a B today, by the way.
Look at that. I gave him a C. I thought it was worse. Look at that.
So here we go. Quarterback performance. Would you rather have statistics are an interesting thing because Joe Burrow led the league in all meaningful statistics.
My boy's about
not
to
in the
cook.
playoffs. Is he the best quarterback in the NFL? I don't know.
No.
This year, maybe. But
yeah,
what number really sticks out to me is quarterback rating because it takes into account passing, drops, running the football, turnover-worthy plays, all that sort of information. Okay. Josh Allen, 130-something yards today. His quarterback rating, 71.1. Pretty good. Jalen Hurts' performance today, 15 to 20, 128 yards. His quarterback rating today, 49.4.
Oh, brother.
Now, I don't know what the QBR means, but that's a big difference, and I'm pretty sure higher is better. Now, the 2 rushing touchdowns from the 1-yard line might have made a difference. However, that is Jalen Hurts' game plan, and he couldn't do it today because his knee hurts. Counter argument, Josh Allen doesn't get hurt in the big moments. Jalen does. And has to rely on Saquon. Therefore, he sucks.
My thing is,
it's not an opinion, that is a fact. It's just so we're all clear.
So my thing about Jalen and Josh, I think they're both really good runners. I think the whole 1-yard touchdown thing, that doesn't blow me away for either guy. And I think both of them take advantage of that, the QB sneak, the tush push. They're gonna get one or two just short yard rushing plays a game.
Which is why they're top 5 and Lamar's not, because he doesn't push.
Hear me out real quick, right? I think that's valuable, yes, but I would say it's 6th or 7th most important thing in terms of playing quarterback for me. And I just don't think that I've talked to Avi about it a lot. You bring up the rushing touchdowns a lot. I don't think it matters.
I count them for both QBs. I count them from Allen and Hurts.
I don't think it matters though. I think it's essentially giving James Cook a 1-yard rush on the 1-yard line.
Look at it this way. Look at this way, Jackson. Allen and Hurts are 2 QBs who Out of 60 QBs, if
It's
we're
a great moderator.
how many other QBs can do the tush push stuff as effective as Allen and Hurts?
Not Lamar.
Lamar can't do it. Mahomes can't do it. Burrow can't do it. Stafford can't do it. Goff can't do it. We can go on.
Burrow can do it. He just never gets to like and one. He just puts it in the end zone, or his offensive line gives up a sack for 15 yards.
You guys,
But he can do it. He's done it before.
No,
I've seen Burrow do it before. Burrow, I think, is a pretty good.
He's not doing it like 10 plus times a year and stuff. And
because he throws it in the end zone. You're right. Yeah.
Quick trivia question, guys. Who is the greatest QB sneaker all time? I guess it's not trivia, but it's my opinion.
Tom
Greatest.
Brady.
It's fucking Tom
Brady, because the refs help him out.
No, it's Brady, regardless of any help from the refs. Elite QB sneaker. But
elite cheater too.
No, he didn't cheat.
That was Giselle, not him.
That is true.
Caiden's firing today. I love it.
I took notes today.
But anyways, let's go ahead and get back to the real games. Buffalo wins. Buffalo, Kansas City, I think it's going to be an outstanding game. I think it's going to be kind of a slugfest.
I think it's going to be the same thing it is every year with the Chiefs just winning.
It might be lower scoring. I think it might be more of a defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Chiefs probably will win in the last.
I was going to say, do you guys think Buffalo can win? Because like at this point, I'm just like kind of giving up on them being able to beat the Chiefs. I've kind of given up on it.
Honestly, I picked Buffalo to win the Super Bowl this year. But I think the Chiefs are going to win. Let's be real. They're just going to do it. They're going to win the Super Bowl again. It's just going to happen.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird because they're like 16-1. They went 16-1, but nobody actually thinks they're like 16-1, like quality team.
I think that I feel like I've been on.
Or maybe they lost two. Oh, they lost last week, didn't they?
Yeah, they got spanked.
So I'll point it out right now. In terms of NFL stuff, I've been wrong a lot. My playoff bracket is horrendously bad. But I have never been on the side where I'm like, I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be able to get it done. I've been very high on them all year.
I think, in my opinion, I've vocally said that they're not as good as their record says. But to your point, that I don't think that their skill is at what their record says. But with the experience that they have, like, and they're a winning football team. They're just a really good football team who knows how to take matchups, great coaching. So while they might not be as talented, they're still, I think, probably the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
I think that is – I've been saying it for most of the year until like the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think the Steelers had the best defense in the league until the last month of the season. I think the Chiefs had the best defense of the league if we're talking about right now or end of the season. I think they're that good. I really do think they are. They destroyed the Texans defensively. They have Chandler Jones. Karlaftis was great. You got Trent McDuffie, who's one of the most underrated corners in the league. And I think the biggest part is you have Spagnuolo run that defense. And they're just – I think I talked about it with Pin the other day. This reminds me of Tom Brady. Early years with the Pats, and they had an elite defense, star QB, and were just able to manage the game and get wins because of how good that defense was. I think that's what Chiefs are this year.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, it's pretty much the same blueprint they kind of had last year, right? Offense during the regular season didn't look too good, but the defense was always showing up in clutch spots too. And they kind of just used that formula last year and continue to use it this year to get wins.
Yeah. But let's jump to the next game. The Eagles and the Rams. Actually, let's skip over it because the Eagles suck. And Jalen Hurts as well. No, I'm just playing. It was an interesting game. I actually thought it was pretty solid game overall. And the Rams really had a shot. I thought the Rams were going to pull it out at the end, but weren't able to quite get it done.
Yeah, it was a good competitive game. I really liked the game plan that the Rams came out with, but at the end of the day, Saquon is an animal. You can't stop that guy. Even if your quarterback is going to be handing it off the whole time and you know it, you still can't stop him.
Yeah.
I really thought the Rams were going to win once Jalen Hurts came back with the injury because it was clear he was not the same guy. I think you probably should have turned Kenny Pickett there. He's probably the best quarterback. No, just kidding. Whoever their third quarterback is, that guy's a beast.
I think it's Tanner McKee, I think, maybe.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah.
No, but they did enough to get the win. The defense, I am a little worried about their health coming up this week. Nakobe Dean, we'll see how he's doing. Quinyon Mitchell suffered an injury because he got bodied by big boy Matthew Stafford. And I really do think that if you're out Quinyon Mitchell and Nakobe Dean for this game against the Commanders, it could be a very interesting one. That if you're at full health, I think the Eagles dominate this game. But if you're missing those two guys, I think it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I think I had the Eagles. I know they're coming into the playoffs, making the Super Bowl. I don't know about preseason, but I mean the roster is just loaded. It's just if they're healthy, they'll be there. If they're not healthy, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts, if he can move around, if like Caiden said, if Dean and the other defensive guys, Quinyon Mitchell, are healthy, I think they kind of beat the Commanders by like double digits, honestly.
Yeah, I could see that. It's funny because I see this meme going around. It doesn't quite apply to the Commanders, but it's like AFC is where the best quarterbacks are, and the NFC is where the best rosters are. And
Yeah.
I could not agree more. Like if you look at that Eagles roster, man, it's stars up and down everywhere. And you just have to have a good to great quarterback to get that done. But in the AFC, you have Josh Allen, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, who have a slightly less talented roster, but they're able to elevate the guys around them.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. And you have a team like I know the 49ers did not perform well at all this year, but that's another traditional team that's kind of great defense, great offensive weapons, serviceable quarterback. But yeah, I think that game's gonna be really interesting. I thought the Eagles looked pretty impressive today overall. But man, something about the Commanders. I'd probably pick the Eagles when it's said and done, but a team like that's going to take that many shots every game, I feel like you got to give them a shot because they're going to be out there. I think realistically, you've got to give them 25, 30 points. Just that's probably what they're going to get to because they're going to take that many shots down the field. At the same time, that might result in more turnovers. And I think the secondary for the Eagles has actually been pretty solid this year.
Oh, for sure.
And, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. Kind of a contrast of styles: pound the football, run a lot versus high flying offense of the Commanders. I'll tell you what, though, I am pulling for the Commanders heavily. I really hope they win.
Yeah, I think playing Philly is going to be tough because not necessarily of the atmosphere, but because of the elements. I think if the game next week is anything like this week, it's going to heavily favor the Eagles. The Commanders can run the ball. They can, but their bread and butter is more of that short to intermediate passing game. Take a deep shot or two and then let Daniels work with his feet. And, I mean, we saw a ton of guys slipping today in both Buffalo and Philly. And if he can't get his feet planted and make those cuts and becomes more one-dimensional, then that could be a bad spot for the Commanders.
Yeah, real quick before we hop on to our next game, quick shout out to Jared Verse. That man's a dog, absolute dog.
He is.
Man, he's insane. And trash talking the Philly defense or the Philly fans the whole time. That's just next level stuff right there. I love it.
Baller. He's a baller.
He is, bro. Next game here, probably my favorite game of the weekend: Detroit versus Washington. First half of that game, man, that was just beautiful. It's why we watch football, man. Defensively, not so great, but goddamn, that was exciting. That was lovely, lovely football right there.
I've got something to say to all the Lions fans out there.
Uh-oh.
You know, we're in the season. You guys are like, Jared Goff should be in the MVP combo. Jared Goff, he's the top 5 quarterback. Jared Goff, where'd you go? Where'd you go, buddy? I mean, you had 4 turnovers against the Commanders defense. What are we doing? What are we doing, bud?
I almost muted your mic there. I can't have the Goff slander. That's my guy.
But also, I have some NFC
right.
North slander.
You're right for sure.
NFC North, best division in football history or whatever. You know, they were hyping it up. Haven't won a playoff game this year. Went 0-3. 0-3, NFC North. You are not the AFC North. You'll never be it.
Wait, real quick. How many AFC North teams are left?
0, but at least they won a playoff game. And they only got 2 teams in.
And they played each other.
Yeah.
So, tough. But yeah, this game was super, super exciting, really from start to finish. But, you know, that's the first half, as you pointed out, Jackson. I'm like, no way they can continue this. And they just kept trading shot for shot. And it was cinema. But, yeah, Jared Goff, really the difference in that game there was just him not being able to come through in the clutch. That Texans game and this game were like 95% of his turnovers for the year. Like
had
2 games.
He had like 3 interceptions.
He had 4 interceptions against the Texans,
and then
3 I think he had like.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
but a fumble, red zone fumble, I think. Yes, or yeah.
It was brutal for him. Rough game. Defense was nowhere to be found either. I know they had a lot of injuries this year, but you know, Aaron Glenn was touted as this mastermind.
Trash.
They just got picked apart
all year. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, they just got picked apart. Wasn't impressive showing from, you know, really either defense, but the Commanders did come up big when they needed it. I think the hard part with the Commanders' play style in that game, which is insane that they came out on top, is like you force 5 turnovers, 4 from Goff and 1 from Jameson Williams' pick. And yet it was still a somewhat close game, and the Lions were able to put up 31 points while having 5 turnovers. That's just the pace of play that you're playing with how many possessions. But Jaden Daniels looked freaking unbelievable. Terry McLaurin and him were on the same page. Everyone just wants a piece of that success, and I think they're really building a strong culture over there in Washington.
Yeah,
I think a Washington Ravens Super Bowl would have been kind of cool. Baltimore area, but
they're a really fun team, man. I love watching Jaden Daniels play, Scary Terry and them guys. But real quick, getting back to it, I think Detroit, man, coming into it, I've never really trusted that defense. Obviously, Hutch is out, which is a big loss the season. One of the better edge rushers in the game. But it's just always been that offense is great, and that defense is just like, hopefully they allow less than 30, hopefully. Probably not, but they couldn't even keep them under 40, which was brutal. And obviously the picks didn't help. But, it's interesting. I think that might be where Washington against Philly, I think that might be where they struggle as well, because they're another team that's not known for that defense. They have a couple big names and can make some big plays, but overall, I think Philly could do pretty well against them offensively. Real quick, Jameson Williams, shout out to you, brother.
Listen, see, I respect it, because I know if I was a wide receiver and I finally get a chance to throw a pass in the game, I don't care if he's triple covered, quadruple covered, I'm throwing it. I don't care.
I'm giving him a shout out for another reason. Sorry.
Oh, what's the other reason?
His Selly.
It's Selly. That is true.
It was only 2 pumps. It was only 2 pumps.
Third one, they get you out of here.
Yeah, that was honestly, that game was crazy, left and right. Like, I didn't know what was going to come next, but that might have been the shocking part of the night. That celebration. Oh man! Goodness. But any more thoughts on this game here? I think it was my favorite game of the weekend.
It was probably my favorite. I mean, I think Bills Ravens was my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bills Ravens. It had to be, but
Hate Watch was on 100. That was the only game that I had a hate watch going.
You had a
Yep.
hate watch against Ravens, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had any hate watches this weekend. Oh, Lions. Actually, Lions. I definitely hate watch the Lions. Yeah. Never mind. What am I saying?
All right. Let's see. Next up on the docket, last game from Saturday, we had the Texans at the Chiefs. Man, oh man, this is just how the Texans looked all season. Really bad offensive line play, defense kind of looking lost all the time. CJ making a couple good plays here and there, but overall, man, they couldn't really do anything on offense. Um, Chiefs, suffocated them, and then on defense, they just looked lost. I mean, Kelsey had 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown. Several times I'm looking at the TV and he's in a world of his own. Like no one within 20 yards. I don't. I think it was Al Shahir, number 0, on that defense. Just played awful.
I think Kelsey, man, and again, I'm not some great football mind or anything, so I couldn't even tell you if the Texans are running zone or man. I wasn't. I don't.
They couldn't either. That's the problem.
They couldn't decide.
They're like, let's go box and one.
Box one.
Guys, let's just go over. Let's just try to get as far away as Kelsey as we can. And I feel like that's.
We'll make him run. Make him run and get tired, and then he won't be effective.
Lose steam. But I think the thing with Kelsey, and again, I could be wrong, but I think when he plays against zone, he's one of the best ever to just find gaps in zones. And that's why he looks so open all the time. And I don't know how you wouldn't just go ahead and have, again, don't really know what I'm talking about, but why you wouldn't just have at least one guy guarding Kelsey and then maybe other guys in zone coverage. But yeah, man, it's mind-boggling. But great players are easier to. It's easier to say how you're going to guard him than actually doing it in the game. And yeah, he's truly one of the best ever at his position or just general.
I do really wish that these games offered an all 22 type angle, because like when you're on TV, you're watching like they throw it 15 yards down the field. There's no one around him. I would love to see what's happening. Like if someone's falling down, if someone's getting lost, or like you said, he's a great zone coverage player. Because I think when they recognize the zone, him and Mahomes like have a secret check, and then he just runs whatever the hell he wants, and just like, hey, I'm gonna get open, and it works really well. So,
yeah, my big takeaway from this game is it was a fun NFL season. The Chiefs have their devil magic thing going again. They're gonna win their 3rd Super Bowl. So let's just get on to the next year already. Let's just skip the Super Bowl. Let's just give them the rings and stuff. Pass them all out early so we can get on to next year. Okay, I'm done.
I'm done with it, man. They're just win.
One of the funniest things I saw, and what kind of adds into this thing where people hate who's at the top of the mountain. It's just what happens. Looking at the Chiefs playing the Patriots in the AFC Championship game about 5-6 years ago, and there's a map of America, right? And it shows who's rooting for who. New England Patriots, obviously. The rest of the country, Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look at it for this weekend.
Yep.
I would guess I'd bet a lot of money that it's going to be Kansas City. That part of the map is going to be Chiefs, and then all around it Bills. And that's just how it goes. It's one of those things that's going to keep revolving. When you're at the top, people aren't going to like you. Yeah. So,
well, I
like the Chiefs, though. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I respect them.
I think they're a very solid team, and I respect them. I don't like them. But I think obviously during the Patriots dynasty, I wasn't really old enough to watch the games, understand really what's going on, and then also be in the space of social media. But it's just, I think what's annoying is they're so good, and there's several questionable calls a game that go their way, and it's just like, come on, they don't need the help. Quit giving it to them. And then they like show it down in slow mo, and then the announcers are like, "That's a pretty bad call. I don't know what they're doing there." And then you have Mahomes flopping, trying to draw a foul. Which, I mean, if I could flop out of bounds and get 15 yards, I would do it every time.
No.
But I don't think those calls changed they changed the game, obviously, but I don't think that's not why the Chiefs won. That's not why the Texans lost that game. But it just adds fuel to the fire, and it's really frustrating to see. Biased as I am, Burrow getting grabbed in the face mask in overtime, getting smacked in the head every other possession, and no flags, and then Mahomes gets tackled in the field of play after dancing around, and they throw a flag 15 yards. Like, I would just like consistency. And it's really annoying because it always seems to be. I know it's not always him, but it always seems to be him, and it always seems to be on third down, on fourth down.
Now, real quick here, do you think that it is truly that I know all the media talk about Chiefs getting calls? Do you think the Chiefs actually get an unfair amount of calls their way, or is it just because when they do get calls that are bad, it's more presented in the media, it's more talked about?
No, I
They're
think
such
it's
a great team. I
quantity.
don't think they're necessarily getting more calls.
No, they're not getting more calls, but the type of calls they're getting in the situation is like, oh, come on. Like, I guarantee you, and we saw it in the NFL all year, the week 2 pass interference call against the Bengals, we saw it 55,000 more times in the season. Not blown, not called. It's just like, was that a pass interference? Yeah. Is it ever called anywhere else other than 4th and 19 for a game to decide, or for a call to decide the game? No. So
my thing is, I generally think that overall games, I don't think anyone's really getting the benefit of the doubt from the ref overall. I think it tends to even out as the game goes on, as the season goes on. I feel like there's no really unfair advantage. I just think it's because the Chiefs are in the spotlight so much. But Avi, what do you think about this?
I think,
and I would agree that they did get a couple calls that were pretty obviously blown the other day.
Kind of what Caiden is saying, the type of calls, and it's the timing of them, and then it's also, I don't even know if it's the Chiefs as it is Mahomes, because like there's the play in the Texans game where Mahomes slides like super late and he gets hit, they throw a flag.
And he barely gets hit, by the way. The replay of that was like, again, some things of that and face masks. You should have someone be like, buzz, hey, that's not a flag.
Yeah.
And be super quick, because those are things that are, 15 yards, and they can be decided pretty quickly if they happened or not.
And so he gets calls like that, and then the out of bounds hits, like what's a late hit out of bounds, what's not, I don't really know anymore, because I think it was Lamar today had one that could have been a flag and it wasn't, and I'm just like, whatever, like it wasn't like egregious, I don't feel like, but I know if that was Mahomes, he's getting those 10, 15 yards there. But I don't think it's enough to where they wouldn't be whatever they are 2 times, 3 times from
right.
I would agree.
Yeah, and also, like, I think I'd rather see refs not call the late hits out of bounds on the quarterbacks more often than not, because I mean, we see with how dynamic these players are this day and age. Like, there's clips of Mahomes, I don't know if it was from this year or years prior, where like his body is out of bounds, he hasn't touched out of bounds, and he's still throwing the football. Or he slows up by the sideline and cuts up to get a couple extra yards. Like, Lamar does the same thing, where he's just so versatile. He changes speed so quick, using that boundary as, a safety valve. And a lot of quarterbacks do it. And it's like, so I can't hit him. I'm supposed to just let him have an attempt to make a play. So
yeah, and he can just step out whenever he wants to.
I think it needs to just be like, hey, if it's like an egregious late hit, like you're popping the crap out of them, it's one thing. But the shove out of bounds, or a weak arm tackle, I feel like we can let those go.
Did you guys see that Jared Goff hit after his pick? That was brutal.
He got lit up.
Yeah,
comedy.
Oh man. Bro, I'm just saying, if I was one of these edge rushers or defense players, right, that like has to restrain himself the whole game not to hit the quarterback too hard, he throws a pick, I would be boom, instantly go to that guy.
I'd be like,
I'm not blocking anyone, I'm just blocking you.
Like when Zach Wilson versus Coastal Carolina in college, that bowl game where he threw that pick.
Oh,
There's like 3 guys rotating, taking turns, just sandwiching.
Like, you're about to get bullied, buddy.
Oh, that clip is so good.
That's good. Anyways, guys, what are our picks for the NFC and AFC championship game? I'll go, Avi, you go first. I'll go last here.
All right. Am I throwing like scores in this or just teams?
Scores on this pod. We also like to throw in a couple just like plays that we think are going to happen. Like, for example, Caiden had, I think, the Lions in like the NFC Championship or Super Bowl. Penei Sewell scoring the winning touchdown with 17 seconds left, and
Yeah, he had
Taylor
the game
Swift
winning.
being shown on the Videotron.
He had the game winning touchdown in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. So, starting the AFC, Chiefs, Bills at Arrowhead. Bills, 24-20, 6 seconds left. Chiefs are at like the 50-yard line. Mahomes throws to Kelsey, pitches it to Xavier Worthy, touchdown. Chiefs beat the Bills again, 27-24, and they're on to the Super Bowl.
Excellent. That'd be crazy.
And then NFC, we have Eagles and the Commanders. I don't even have any plays for this one. I'm just going Eagles 31-20. I don't know any plays other than tush push or
Yeah, that's the kind of team they are, man. There's nothing notable about them.
All right. So Bills at Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. Just kidding. I think it's Gia now. Anywho, Bills, Chiefs, very similar situation. I think it is 24-30. Bills just score the ball. How much time is left? More than 13 seconds this time. About 2 minutes to go. 4th down and 5. Tries to throw a fade, but who's speeding down in a reckless car? Rashee Rice.
Oh, my.
Hits the defender, falls down. We have to replay 4th down. Tyreek Hill and his 11 children are in attendance at this game. He wants to be a Chief so bad. Him and Phillip Rivers are going to have a flag football game right after with their families. Throws it to Xavier Worthy. Gets popped by DeMar Hamlin. Pass interference. Automatic 1st down. Post to Travis Kelce. Catches it. Shoves DeMar down. Dies again. This time is the last time. Chiefs miss the extra point, but win in overtime. Next up, Commanders Eagles.
Wait, how do I bet on that DeMar play? How do I bet on that? Where can I go to bet on it?
It'll go live on Red Note tomorrow afternoon.
It's only like plus 350 odds too.
Oh, plus
Yeah.
I don't even
But
know
if you parlay it with Rashee Rice.
Okay, that's the move.
Yeah, that's the move.
there.
Next up, we got Commodores at the Eagles at the Link. I think it's going to be a very cold game, but not much precipitation. I think the Commanders.
That's rain.
Yes. Or snow, or sleet, or hail. None of it's going to happen. The Commanders are going to have a steady lead, but Saquon's going to eat away. But you know what happens? The ball's at the 1 yard line. The Eagles are down 3. No. The Eagles are tied. No. Eagles are down 7. So they have to go for it. They go with the tush push. Jalen Hurts fumbles the snap. Ball is recovered by Bobby Wagner. And they're going to the Super Bowl. The Commanders win.
Wowza.
45-38.
That's electric. Let me set the mood for you guys for the AFC Championship game. It's approximately 9:39 in the evening, Eastern time, right? And we come back from the ads on CBS, right? There is 1 minute and 48 seconds left. Chiefs with the ball, right? Chiefs with the ball. They're up 3 right now, 24-21. We got 3rd down and 9. 3rd down and 9. Buffalo has 0 timeouts left. Chiefs are trying to end this game with the 1st down. Mahomes takes the snap, right? Mahomes drops back. He almost gets sacked. Almost gets sacked by an outreaching paw of Randy Gregory, who I think's on the Bills, but don't fact check that. He rolls out right, and oh my gosh, out of the side of his eyes, he sees T Swizzle. T Kelsey. He throws the ball to him. He catches that ball. First down, Chiefs, they win. And we go up to the studio, up to the broadcast booth. You know, Jim, wow.
I forgot that
was a
game's going to be
play
on CBS.
That could
Oh,
only
no.
be made by Patrick Mahomes, Jim. Wow. And the Chiefs won.
Okay,
All right.
I got a question for you.
Indeed.
If the Bills lose this game to the Chiefs, like we all three have predicted in very similar scenarios, does Josh Allen turn to a life of crime?
This is a good question. I'm going to go with no. I think he quits NFL. I think he quits playing football, stay-at-home dad with Haley Steinfeld, and they just like go, he lets her do the movie star thing, and he just quits playing football.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I would say it depends what you define as crime. I think Josh
doing
Allen,
things that are illegal.
Illegal for the greater good. Because I don't know if you guys have read where I'm going with this. I think Josh Allen becomes Batman if he loses to Patrick Mahomes.
It's interesting.
You're saying he just kills Patrick Mahomes?
No, if he loses to him, I don't think it would kill.
He becomes actual Batman, like fighting crime every night.
Yeah, it's like actual Batman.
Okay, so what city are we talking about? Because Buffalo, I feel like Buffalo it's a bit cold for that.
He'll move to New York City, which is Gotham in the Batman series and comic book thing. Anyways, my next game, we have the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, the Eagles and the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is kind of doing his thing, man. He's kind of cooking this game, right? But like I said earlier, this Commanders defense, I don't think they really stand a chance. It's going to be close. It's going to be kind of a boring thing again. I think the Eagles are going to run the clock at the end of the game, going to be able to get the win, 35-31. And I think Hurts makes a really big throw on another third down to get the first down and run the clock out. And what happens in this scenario? Tom Brady actually has to take a call from the Raiders. So he has to get off the booth. And guess who's there? Hey, KB. It's Chris Collinsworth. Ma'am, that was a play that only I thought only Patrick Mahomes could make.
Oh my God.
We got the Eagles and the Chiefs. The Super Bowl no one has asked for, but is going to be given to us by the NFL. So
I think Jaden Daniels gets just absolutely laid out also in like the second quarter. I think he tries his LSU like little hurdle thing over people. We'll try
by who?
Jaden Daniels. We'll try to Jalen Carter maybe.
Oh, that would be a good one. That'd be a good hit.
He keeps the ball on like a zone read or something, and he's scrambling, and he tries to jump over Jalen Carter. He just grabs him and throws him down.
That's a big man. That's a big man to do it too.
I have a question for you all. Should criminals be allowed to play the game of football?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I think it entirely depends what they've done.
I don't know, man. I mean, Kareem Hunt's playing.
I think it served your penalty, whatever.
And Carter.
See, I don't know. I don't know Watson. About specific. Deshaun Watson definitely, I would say no.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but back in the day, prior to leaving the Texans, he actually got traded, but he actually was involved in a minor scam. Just kidding. It wasn't really a minor scam. That's Josh Giddey. He was more involved with embezzling money for services.
Who's this?
And assaulting people. Mostly that second part.
Who's this? Who are we talking about?
Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
See, I don't know any of this.
No one knows about the embezzling because he went to the massage the route to cover up the embezzling.
Interesting.
Well,
Yes.
guys, I'm Roger Goodell.
The problem
I
is
don't
he didn't cover up while massaging.
wait. So I'm Roger Goodell, guys. What did Ray Rice do? Because I do not know. Do you guys
I
get that reference?
think a lady called him a bad word, and he just peacefully walked out and said, "I can't deal with it."
Well, there's a whole thing about Roger Goodell back when the Ray Rice thing happened, and there was clearly a video about it. He's like, I never saw the video.
I was about to
And
say,
he's like blatantly
There's a
lied. to the
video?
interview.
He was like,
Yeah,
"There's
he's
a
like,
video?"
what are you guys talking about? I haven't seen it. And it's
Oh
just like,
man, I guess
okay.
this 4-game suspension wasn't enough, huh? Now that
5.
there's a video, I didn't even know.
True.
about.
2-game
Or
suspension.
2-game suspension.
True.
Hey man,
Tom Brady just shorted his phone. Why would he do that?
Hey
Huh.
man, he did that every year. He did that every year, Abby.
Why would
That was
he
part of
do-
his
why would he
routine.
just
He's a
short his phone?
routine-based person.
because he was texting other ladies, and Giselle was catching him. That's why he had to deflate the balls.
Yep.
Anywho, what's
I'm
next?
breaking it. I think that's it for the ep.
Really, you don't want to do a college football preview?
Yes, we
for
could do
the
that real
game
quick.
tomorrow night. But
Here.
this podcast probably won't be posted before then. But
I'm gonna post it tonight. I was slacking on the other ones, and then I went to go edit it today. Some of the episodes I had in the bullet, and I realized CapCut doesn't work anymore.
yeah, that's brutal. Is it back now?
I'll check because I know TikTok's back, but when I
Yeah.
checked this morning, it was still out.
It was a long like 12 hours for me. I was like, I opened TikTok I think 15 times just from
Bro.
muscle memory. I'm just like,
Caiden, I'm telling you, bro. Shorts is where it's at. Shorts,
no,
just,
YouTube Shorts is
not
doom
shorts, but
scrolling.
reels.
And Instagram Reel, it doesn't really know my algorithm as well as TikTok, but YouTube, they're like, the longest time I ever was on those was just like clips of The Sopranos, which I've never seen before. So I'm like, oh, I'll keep watching this. What is this? I'm like, no, Tony.
So, do you guys know the Friday Beers channel
Yes.
on Instagram? Do you know the one guy? His name is he's the really he does skits and he's just the really weird guy all the time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it
Oh God, it's not Liam's like one of the main guys. It's not
Did
him.
Angus? Will Angus? That
Yes.
dude?
He is. I spent like an hour today watching his reels. He is the funniest person ever. Have you seen any of the Minecraft videos he does?
Not
I'm
really. I
sending
really
it
don't
to
remember
you.
any of his stuff specifically. I just know whenever it pops up, I laugh at it.
Bro, I'll send you some of his stuff. It's like this. It's like, what if your roommate was like this? And it just starts. I'll send it to you. It's really funny. It's weird.
This is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. It really is, guys. I described it very well to you. But let's go ahead and get into the preview for the national championship game real quick. Notre Dame, Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to win by a decent margin.
I have a Notre Dame future, so I got to go with the Irish.
Oh, I hope Ohio State wins. It'd be great to have my team succeed. It's been since 2016. 2014 to 2016 was a good time for me. But since then, it has been terrible. So
I've had a pretty tough life as a sports fan overall. But
I think Ohio State will win.
I think they can. I think they should. And I think they will. But the question is, does it happen?
Riley Leonard, Duke legend.
I really think that Ohio State is better at literally everything. Like offense, defense, special teams, maybe not. But offense and defense, Ohio State has the edge pretty clearly. And hopefully they can put that on the field.
yeah, I think that the final score is going to be, I got it like 34. I'm going to go a little higher, actually. I'm going to go like 38-20. I just think Ohio State's really, really good, man. And I think Notre Dame's a really solid team. They have a lot of momentum going right now. I love their coach. But Ohio State just has too much, and they've looked really, really good the last couple games.
Yeah, I think they really figured out their identity, and they're gonna stick with it. I do foresee a Will Howard interception in this game. just because of how good the defense is for Notre Dame. But I think he'll do plenty to get the job done.
So, Caden, you're an Ohio State fan, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you
Unfortunately,
so if you guys were to lose tomorrow, do you want Ryan Day to still be the coach next year?
It really would depend on how we lose. If it's like a classic out coaching thing, then I don't know. He's been really good. His weakness has just been Michigan, and that really sucks. But playing for the national title means a lot too. Um, but if it's one of those where it's like Will Howard just like throws a pick to end the game, really just like a bad read or a bad throw, then I think you got to go to Ryan Day and be like, we got to build the team differently. Like having 3 stud wide receivers every year, but a mediocre to above average quarterback isn't the recipe for success. You gotta put a better playmaker back there. But I don't think I want him fired. I'd like to see another year or two out of him, and hopefully when we play Michigan next year that we throw the football sometimes because we just kind of forgot Jeremiah Smith existed, and I think he was too focused on trying to prove a point that we were tougher and that we would win in the trenches, and we did not.
Yeah, just interesting scenario where you make the national title game, but your job isn't entirely secure yet. It's kind
Right.
of
I think it's secure from a. I think his job is more than secure, but I think fans will be
yeah.
very. It's which is annoying because it's like the product of what you put on the field, like these past 3-4 weeks in the biggest games, like that's the kind of coach he is, and you got to still believe that he can go out and win because I mean he's had some great seasons that have just been fallen short by 1 or 2 losses.
yeah, it's gonna be fun though. I hope Notre Dame makes it interesting in this game because I think is some blowout potential just because of how good that team is. Man, you know me, I hate Ohio State. I cannot
Yeah, I
stand
do.
it.
I know you do.
But I will say I really like this roster. There's a lot of guys I really like in this team. So part of me, I'm kind of pulling for Ohio State tomorrow. That's like I did not expect me to say that this year.
Don't.
Was not on the bingo card.
I will say it was hilarious because I've started to be more active on my backcourt Twitter and I have threads now.
Mhm.
But I also like was looking through my Instagram reels the other day. I love that people don't delete their stupid takes because it was like this Locked On Vols podcast talking about Tennessee and how
Oh,
they
I
think
saw you
Ohio
post
State's
that.
like super soft, and I just went down like their whole profile and was like, "Is Ohio State still soft? Are they still soft? How are the Vols
Mhm.
doing?" I just went full hater for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's funny. But Notre Dame, I have a couple of guys in this game, and I've told Caden before. I mean, Avi knows. I refer to my guys. They're like some of my favorite people.
Your big boys, your big board.
Yeah, in terms of draft prospects, actors, movies, like any topic. I
Mm-hmm.
got some colors that are my guys, like blue. Hell yeah. Anyways,
That's too vague. What type of blue? There's so many blues.
I mean all of them, but in terms of my guys, like something that's a little underrated, like shit, like a navy blue. I don't even know if it's
Maybe
underrated, but God, that hits.
Mm.
Anyways, Xavier Watts is one of my guys. I think he's really, really good. I like him a lot. Denzel Burke from Ohio State. I think there's going to be a lot of good players in the secondary for this game. And my last guy in this game is Travion Henderson. I really, really like him. I think he's getting slept on. Even on his team this year, I still think he's the best running back in Ohio State. I think he's a top 2-3 running back in this draft class coming up. I'm expecting big things from him in this game. So,
Yeah, it's fun to watch these prospects because I'm really high on that corner. Benjamin Morrison, I think is his name.
Mhm.
I
I think
really hope the
is he
Bengals go
out?
and get him.
I think
I
he
don't
might
know.
be injured.
He
But
better not be because that'd be very sad. Because the big guys that I wanted to see play this year are him and the defensive back from Michigan. but he got hurt toward the end of the year. So I hope we go defensive back or edge rusher, but we'll see what happens.
I'm going to the Senior Bowl in a couple weeks. I'm pretty pumped for that. I might even, because it's kind of like a week-long thing, so I might try to go to a practice or two during the week. I got a media pass. I can tell you that.
Oh my god! How did you get a media pass?
I just shit.
Say
bro.
backcourt podcast media.
Hell yeah!
Did you really?
Yeah.
Hey,
Awesome.
I sent in some. I think honestly, like if you want to get one, you can kind of just send in stuff and get one.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really know how much it entails. I think you can go ahead and like be in the area for when they do interviews and stuff. I'm like kind of intimidated. I think I'll try to get like an interview or two though.
I think it'd be hilarious. You gotta like get out of pocket on a couple of them,
bro. I might
be like, during today's Senior Bowl practice, your sex tape has been leaked. What do you have to say about that?
I go ahead and like I ask like a white guy or something. Let's say there's like Jack Sawyer or someone there. I'm like, so when there's like a black quarterback, like, do you try harder?
Do you get angry?
Do you have a little Nick Bosa in you?
I think the funniest thing, not related at all, but like the meme going around. So like obviously, I think a lot of these players in college football have been doing the thank you Jesus, kind of speeches after the game.
Yeah,
and it's just so funny to see the difference between like Travion Henderson and Keyshawn Judkins. Like the quotes they use on their Instagram, like Travion's like, "Thank you God, like couldn't do this without you." Blah 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 blah. Bible quote, and then Keyshawn Jenkins like, "All I know is to leave a stain." Blood drop.
oh, I did see that. Yeah,
it's so funny. It's like everyone needs a guy that's a preacher and a guy that's gonna run you over.
Yeah, you need that contrast.
Look, it's awesome,
bro. I think I sent a text to Caiden after Notre Dame won, and oh god, who's their quarterback? Riley Leonard was getting interviewed. I'm like, this guy's cringy as hell. I'm sorry. Because after his interviews, I'm like 75% of the time he's thanking God. I'm like, that's fine. You can go ahead and thank God. I'm like, well, just thank Jeremiah Love a little bit, just like thanks for your players. Like, come on now.
he does go not overboard, but he gets a lot.
God quotes.
Yeah.
Which I guess it makes sense. Notre Dame.
It'll be like so Riley, on that 3rd and 7, when you saw that zone, what did you think? And he's like, well, I didn't see that zone. I saw the pearly gates of heaven. I saw God.
He really does.
He's like, you know how Sam Darnold sees ghosts, I see angels, and I just throw him the football.
It's like Riley Leonard on that 25-yard touchdown run. What's going through your mind? He's like, God was just speaking to me. I knew God had a plan for me on that run. I'm like, okay. But speaking of Notre Dame, you know who our boy Joshua Bielski met last night?
Shane Gillis.
He met Shane Gillis. Bro, he said it on his stories like Shane Gillis is here. I was texting him like fanboying. I was going crazy. I'm like, you gotta get a picture with him, bro. You have to.
Where did he meet him at?
At the sports, like the betting bar MGM, like right next to the Red Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Shane's he seems like such a cool dude, man.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
We'd fit in right along with him.
It would, bro. I think I'd fit in with some of his family members more, but anyways. Anything else on the pod for today?
Uncle Danny?